Alright, what's up y'all? So it's today I'm gonna be sharing with you guys my entire Stanford Law School resume, personal statement, optional statements, and yeah, I'll be walking through it, explaining my mindset behind why I wrote what I wrote. It's kind of personal, but it's all good. I want to give y'all value. Hopefully this is helpful, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions about it. But okay, we'll jump right into it. Alright, so here's my resume. I whited out my address because I don't want y'all to know my address or whatever and phone number. So I have my name at the top, and the format I got from my brother. He sent me his format. What I could do is I could put this Google Doc in the description below, so you could see, you guys could have it, you guys could edit it, make a copy, and then put your name in and use the format. This is a format that I used. So full name, email address here, phone number here, and then your home address here. And then it's good to start off with education. I put my GPA because I was really proud of it. If your GPA maybe isn't the highest, then you could leave that out. Put standard stuff, location, date, and then this is where it starts to get important. So you want any honors or awards that you've gotten, add them here because it's going to stand out. You want them to see. You could add a little description of it, but make sure to add your awards, and then throw in some activities that you did in school if you have the room for it. It makes you seem a little well-rounded. I didn't add this before, but I had someone give me the advice to add it, and it worked. So add some activities there. And here, professional experience. So here I put that I'm the director and founder of a group called Santa Ana Youth Vote. And as you could see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of professional experience things that I listed out. I could have added more, but I think my advice is to try to keep this to one page, especially if you're younger. If you're older and you have a ton, hey, you could go over. But if you're age 18 to 25, we probably don't have a ton of stuff, so be selective about what you add. Keep it to one page. Only choose the most important and the most flattering, the most the best looking experiences. And that doesn't mean they're the highest prestige, look at working at the White House. If you worked at the White House for a month versus if you were a community organizer in your neighborhood for 5 years, the 5 years looks so much better. So be smart about which one you choose. So here, take a notice on how I phrased my experiences. So I put director and founder. And I said I developed a paid fellowship for 22 high school students. I should have added low income. Here I put registered over 2,500 young people. So these are tangible results that I could talk about, that are really helpful. I think it's really smart to talk about your experiences in a tangible way, a numerical way. How many people did you help? How many hundreds of people did you help? How many thousands of people did you help? What specific policies did you fight for? Specifics are great. Here next, I gave mobilized thousands of Orange County residents. Talked about policies that came out of it. Here I talked about the policy initiatives I focused on. Here again, you could see supported 140 families. Again, numerics. Numbers help so much because it shows you're not just bullshitting, you're being real. Again, here talk about specifics. And at the end, at the bottom, skills and interests. Fluent in Spanish, tutor for the LSAT. This was a decision I had to make. I could have made tutor a professional experience, but then because I wanted to keep it to one page, I just put it here. So be smart like that. Be only be sparing about what you add in your resume, and you could always have a little bullet point at the end. So this is my resume. And before I move on, I did want to share that all of this and more, including my Harvard Law resume and personal statements, my Truman Scholarship materials, and so much more. Everything I know about how to get a 4.0 in college, how to get a 180 on the LSAT, how to get the Truman Scholarship, I put together in a course. which the link is in the description below. Right now it's $97. It's half off. It's going to be $197 soon. So please, I ask, if you are interested in learning more, I'd ask you please purchase the course. I'm using the funds that I get from people buying the course to pay for my Harvard Law School education. I did put in a lot of work into it, so please, I ask, go to the description below, purchase the course, and also if you could like, follow, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate it. I'm really trying hard to bring you guys value. Okay, so let's get back into the video. Okay, so now that we talked about my resume, let's go into my personal statement. So as you can see, it's not too long, Times New Roman, 11-point font, and it's less than 2 pages. I believe it's like double spaced. But here I talked about a specific experience that I had in my city. I talked about when I was working with the city that I grew up in. I helped hand out prepaid Visa cards. So I really tried getting, when I was writing it, like trying to tell a story, like fear, shock, and tears of joy came running down. I tried like getting it tangible, like telling a story. So I talk about that, and then I contrast that experience of me helping my community with something that happened recently, which was an elected official who was caught in corruption charges, who stole millions of dollars to buy his family luxury homes. So I say, look, I did all this great work, but then this elected official is doing this, this corrupt act. And then I say, I talk a little bit about where I came from. I'm also the son of Bolivian immigrants and Mexican immigrants, and how much it pained me as someone who is a son of immigrants who came from, humble beginnings my family did, and someone who's helped my community by handing out these cards out, to see that being corrupted and taken advantage of hurt me so much. And finally, I connected it back to why I want to go to law school. So I said, I've witnessed how government could do good and how it could be corrupt. And I, as a lawyer, want to be an attorney who fights for a fair and corruption-free government, and to go after these people who are being corrupt. And then I even talk about my specific, I want to work in the office of the Attorney General. And then I talk about my long-term goals of working in politics in order to fight for economic rights for all. I really try and make my passion speak through. So that's what I would recommend with a personal statement, starting with kind of like a story, like tell a story, like that's emotional, that you care about, and then connect that to your motivation of why you want to go to law school or grad school or college. But try to connect those two, and then weave in like your passion and your drive and your motivation and your goals, and be bold. That's what I would recommend for that. Okay, so that's the personal statement. And then for Stanford, they have like an optional essay. And here I believe it's, again, 2 pages, a little less than 2 pages. And I think, if I could remember correctly, the prompt was asking about like a time when like you face criticism, or you've disagreed with someone and you've had to overcome that disagreement. And again, I start off by telling a story. So I say, the sun was beating down on us, people were dancing, and we were getting out the vote. We were at a community festival. So I set the scene. I start telling the story. And then I bring up a little bit of my background. I say my mom was born on a kitchen table in Mexico, my dad in the poorest country. So I give a little background. I talk about how I started Say Vote to break the cycle of inequalities and civic participation. And I talk about more specifics on what I did. And then here's when I bring up the conflict. So I say, while filling out our forms, I saw an older man approach us. And then he launched into a tirade about how we were biased. I go into that. And then I talk about the effect that this criticism had. I said it was a wake-up call, and we disagreed with them, but we had to overcome this in a smart, fair way that helped everyone. And basically, I talked about how we reached out to them. We explained. We tried to be fair and honest and upfront with them instead of attacking them online. We tried being honest with them, and we found out a way to make a bad situation into a win-win situation by hosting a candidate forum where we invited the people criticizing us in order to share their ideas with the public. And then, I talk about that in the end. I say reflecting, I'm proud of this. It taught me these lessons. And I'm really proud of this essay. So I think if you're applying to Stanford, I think, it's always good to set a story in the beginning, talk a little bit more about yourself or motivations, and then make the story kind of show that you learned your lesson of like being mature and being able to overcome differences in opinion. So show that level of maturity, especially if you're a younger applicant who's like 18 to 25, or 20 to 25. They are looking for a little more maturity because they, have the lower expectation because you're young. So that's that essay. And then finally, so these essays are kind of funny. They're kind of cool. So at Stanford, they ask you for like optional short essays, and they're kind of more fun essays. But for me, I really I could have went like the complete fun route and like kind of just talk about silliness. But I tried sharing something really deeper about myself. I tried really showing who I am beyond my resume and my LSAT. So I think question 1, they ask you if you could have breakfast or a meal with anyone, living or dead, who would it be? And I talked about Kobe Bryant, and that could be kind of like viewed as like silly or something. But I connected it, and I used that topic to explain more about me and explain that, like me, I chose a similar path to my father. I grew up privileged. I had a chip on my shoulder. I grew up in white spaces as a young man of color, and showing, and you see how like I wove a whole like biography about myself by talking about Kobe Bryant. Also explain that I like spending time alone, and I'm a hard worker, and someone who's really focused. So all those things I wove into a short essay about Kobe Bryant. So that's what I would recommend with these shorter essays. Try to talk about something you're passionate about, but connect it and show your character from it. So again, for the next question, I did the same thing. So it's a fun question. Again, they ask, what are three songs you would like us to listen to while we read your application? And for me, I talked about a Kendrick Lamar song, I talked about a Bad Bunny song, and I talked about a song in Spanish. And with the Kendrick Lamar song, I talk about how like I'm just like a hopeful, like it's almost like when people say you're like a hopeful romantic or whatever. Like I'm like I'm like such like a fiend for like motivational quotes and like self-help and stuff like that. Like I believe in that. Putting up motivational quotes on my wall. So I use this motivational song to talk about that. And then I bring up Bad Bunny because I want to talk a little more about my Latino heritage and my Latino culture. And then I talk about the Spanish song because it talks about a struggle for economic rights, which I believe in. So all of these essays I used in a smart way in order to share something more and deeper about myself. And that's really the message I want to leave off with you guys is when you're writing these essays, you really want to put yourself, like show yourself in the best light possible. Like it's all marketing yourself, because right now we're all young. We're all like 20, 25 years old. We haven't cured cancer. We haven't changed the world. So the difference between someone who gets into these schools and wins a scholarship or doesn't is the way you market yourself. Like you could talk about two things in the same way. Like for me in my resume, I could say, I was a volunteer for my local campaign. I could say that for a summer. And that sounds cool. Or you could say, no, I mobilized thousands of my neighbors through organizing canvassing efforts and fundraisers, and this resulted in the passage of the Orange County's first rent control ordinance. You see how the two, like, I'm talking about the same thing, but the way you frame it is differently. And the same thing goes with all the essays. You really want to tell a story that's compelling and interesting, but show your passion, show the grand motivations and your big goals, and show who you are. Like get them to really know you and like you. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope you found these essays helpful. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below. Please like this video, please comment, please subscribe. It really helps out so much. I'm really trying to provide value, and honestly, I really want to pay for my law school and not go into debt. So please, if you could share the video, like the video, subscribe, comment, and buy the course, I'd really appreciate that. Please so much. Thank you so much. Bye.